What's good, you nerds? How's everybody doing? It is I, your boy Jay, welcoming you to another Movie Mass. I hope everybody is having a splendid couple of days before Christmas. It's that time of year where things are really ramping up. I mean, as you're seeing this, who knows? We got a day, maybe 2 days left. It's crunch time, people. It's really time to get on it. With just a couple of days left, we got to get ourselves into the Christmas spirit.
Come on, it's almost Christmas. Get into the spirit. Let's put some decorations up.
We got to get into the Christmas spirit. And I think for a lot of us, that means watching Christmas movies. There's a lot of Christmas shit we could be doing, but if you're here watching this, probably you like watching movies, and probably some of your favorite things to do are to watch Christmas movies. Now, if you're one of the lucky ones out there, then you've got a normal family, and at this time of year, you get together and you argue with your drunk uncle about politics, deporting Mexicans, Epstein files, Israel. You know, you can get drunk like normal people and just all fight about totally normal shit, like geopolitics leading us to World War III. But, you know, hey, if you got a family like mine, maybe you argue about different stuff. Like what counts as a Christmas movie or not? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Is Gremlins a Christmas movie? Is Mallrats a Christmas movie? I threw that one in to fool you. Mallrats is not a Christmas movie. But perennially, this time of year, there are always arguments online and apparently at my dinner table about which films should be considered Christmas films. And so I've spoken on this topic previously last year. I talked a little bit about Die Hard and the criteria to which I apply to Die Hard in order to try to tell if it's a Christmas movie or not. Try to apply some kind of objective framework. And so I think today what I'd like to do is expound a little bit on some of the framework, on like a theoretical scaffold by which we can measure different films to see how they stack up. Are they a Christmas film? Are they not a Christmas film? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to present to you actually three levels of films. And I'm going to start with what I call the true Christmas film. These are the films that no one ever really argues about. These films have an overwhelming consensus that they are Christmas films. You don't ever really have people arguing that they're not. These are films that really only work if the narrative takes place on or around Christmas. These are films that could not possibly occur at other times of the year. The Christmas holiday is a necessity for these films to play out. Additionally, the true Christmas film displays themes that are going to be familiar to the holiday. So things that you're used to. I'll give you some examples. There's A Christmas Carol. The Scrooge story. Everybody loves the Scrooge story, and nobody really argues that the Scrooge story is not a Christmas film. There's a theme of redemption, the redemption of Ebenezer Scrooge's soul. And as Christmas is the time that we celebrate the birth of Jesus, and Jesus' purpose is recognized by Christians to be the redemption of mankind, themes of redemption are very appropriate for Christmas time. I think they just kind of naturally found each other. Furthermore, as we all know, Christmas comes at the end of the year. I think at the end of the year, it's a natural time for us to take a look back. Retrospectively, we reflect on our past, at least that year, but maybe even go back a little bit further, and we consider the impact of our behavior. I mean, for a lot of us, it's like, why did I drink all that booze? Why did I eat all that weed? Why did I have all those pizzas? I should be exercising. But, you know, sometimes, obviously, we think about our behavior and how that might impact others. So for something like A Christmas Carol, I think it works very well as a Christmas film. And there's an example of some of those like true Christmas film themes. You see that also in some other Christmas films that aren't A Christmas Carol, like The Grinch. There are similar themes of the Grinch's kind of redemption. He even pays a little bit of a penance at the end when he returns the gifts and he has to take part in the carving of the rare roast beast, but maybe he's enjoying himself by that point in time. And so characters who are uplifted at this time of year. I also think about one of my personal favorites, and that is Bad Santa, one of my absolute favorite Christmas films, an incredible Christmas film. And it does tie in the themes of redemption that I discussed with Willie as a thief who, similar to the Grinch, he steals at Christmas time. He takes from others, this time for his own personal gain, but you can tell he does carry some guilt about that. And when he finally does have the opportunity to do right, he does redeem himself in some small way. And so you see that in some of these films. Again, people love that shit. I'm no different, and I have a lot to say, a lot of good things to say about Bad Santa as a Christmas film. You've got true Christmas films like It's a Wonderful Life and White Christmas. This is a great example of themes of giving. A lot of Christmas films have to do with like giving, not always gift giving. Sometimes gift giving is wrapped in as either part of the narrative or part of the theme. Some of the motifs can be gift giving. You go shopping. There's scenes in Christmas films where they go shopping for gifts, etc. So something like White Christmas, though, you have the theme of giving, where Bing and Danny, they have to try to give that special Christmas event to their former general. So they're planning this for him to kind of, help him out with his bed and breakfast or his inn that he's running. And so with White Christmas, you got the themes of giving. With It's a Wonderful Life, you have, of course, themes of giving, giving of yourself. And that's, another really common theme for like a true Christmas film. Christmas Vacation is another one that I'll point to as an absolute favorite Christmas film of mine. And Christmas Vacation, with Christmas Vacation, as well as It's a Wonderful Life, we get into themes of community and family. These films use Christmas time as an opportunity to present both the ups and downs of being part of this like larger unit, whether it's the family or the level of the small town, the community. George from It's a Wonderful Life, of course, he's a pillar of his community. He's someone who can be relied upon to support the people around him. That's kind of the moral of that story, is that, he has this incredible effect that's well beyond him, but it's because he is such a dependable guy. Not super Christmassy in and of itself, but of course at this time of year, we can reflect on that type of giving of oneself. The position that George holds within his community isn't always one that he values or even recognizes. I mean, it's very stressful to him. George, it feels like a burden to George in that film. I mean, it's not for nothing that he was standing on a bridge and thinking about yeeting himself into the abyss at one point. So we see that George is both this very valued pillar of his community, but also that position comes with it. The giving that he has to do comes with it some stress, some very real, like kind of existential burden to him. For Clark in Christmas Vacation, we get more, it's more the comedy angle. We get this endless mirth watching him like struggle to execute this idyllic Christmas that he's got in his mind against all of these obstacles that he winds up facing, these like very real world obstacles of things like his deadbeat cousin, his apathetic in-laws, his children that are kind of uninterested in the family shit, corporate greed, his greedy boss, his yuppie neighbors, electricity, gravity, the SWAT team, the goddamn SWAT team. So really we see all of these obstacles that Clark has to come up against, and he just wants to make the perfect Christmas for his family. But it just keeps going wrong again and again, and that's where we get the comedy, but then of course the idea of family and how on the one hand family is very nice. We love our families. I love my family, but at the same time you want to strangle them sometimes. Those are the people you want to strangle more often than strangers. You spend a lot of time with your family, so there's a lot of opportunity to want to strangle little motherfuckers. And so Christmas Vacation actually for that reason might be the realest Christmas movie of all time, because I think we've all tried. We've all tried our damnedest to make something work, only for it to go wrong at every turn, in every way imaginable. So I think it's easy to relate to Clark too, because he's just it doesn't seem like he's asking for much, but it just goes wrong at every turn. And so I think those themes, the themes of family and community, giving, as well as the holiday season as a time that's both, it's memorable, it's nostalgic, but it's also stressful and frustrating, and it's incredibly relatable. So I think there's that in the true Christmas films, and you can point to those. No one's going to argue about Christmas Vacation not being a Christmas film for some reason or another. Also, in the true Christmas film, you see, this is where you get a lot of the magic Christmas films, films depicting like a diegetically real Santa Claus, like Tim Allen's The Santa Claus, or Miracle on 34th Street, or Elf. These are all films that, within the diegesis of the film at least, the magic of Christmas is not metaphorical, it is real. There is a real Santa Claus, there are real elves, there is real magic, reindeer actually fly, things like that. And of course, you're not going to argue that a film in which Tim Allen transforms into Santa Claus over the course of the movie is not a true Christmas film. It is what it is. It also deals with family stuff too. So, you know, you can tie some of these themes together. And these themes of the true Christmas film are not mutually exclusive, but usually it's pretty easy to see that you're dealing with a true Christmas film. It's going to meet some of these very obvious thematic and narrative criteria that I've set out for you today. I think something to look out for in the true Christmas film is both the diegetic and non-diegetic use of Christmas music. The true Christmas film is pretty much going to be chock full of Christmas standards, whether they're new versions, you know, sung by the actors, or, you know, they're bringing in something like Bad Santa brings in some of the classics. You've got Bing Crosby on the soundtrack. You've got Nat King Cole. You've got some of the classics that you've been hearing all your life that are kind of subverted a little bit there, but you'll hear that in the true Christmas film quite often. And in some cases, like Holiday Inn, you might even have the origination of a now classic Christmas song within the film. Holiday Inn, of course, gave us the Christmas classic song, White Christmas. So that, I think, is the category of true Christmas film. Now we move on to our next category, which is the Christmas-adjacent films. These are films that are, I think, they benefit very greatly from the Christmas setting. They're hard to remove from the Christmas setting still, because that Christmas setting is still giving a lot to the narrative, but they tend to move away a little bit, maybe from established Christmas themes. They don't tend to have magic or supernatural, although there can be some exceptions to that. And there's a lot of room for experimentation of the genre here with these Christmas-adjacent films. Here's where you might see some genre mashups, you know, where the true Christmas film tends to be, you know, comedies, dramas, maybe a little bit of fantasy interwoven in with something like the Santa Claus and Elf and stuff like that. But with the Christmas adjacent films, you can get a little bit experimental with some of that. You can work in some other genre stuff. A little bit of action will come in here. Home Alone, I think of as a Christmas adjacent film. Again, Home Alone has very strong themes of one's place within a family unit, with Kevin learning how important family truly is in their absence. So I think, you know, the ups and downs are presented here of, like, you know, you love your family, but you don't always get along with your family, and sometimes you tell your family you hate them and you want to strangle them, but you don't really feel that way, but you're not able to always put into words how you actually feel, because in the heat of a moment, you know, you just want to tell everybody to go fuck themselves. And so, you know, I think you see some of that in Home Alone. So you could almost convince me to move Home Alone up to that, like, true Christmas movie level. I think it helps the narrative that it's occurring at the holidays, because the burglars are not able to break into all the houses if the people are home. It's because the people are gone, they're traveling to see family at the holidays, that the burglars are able to break in and hit every single house on that block and basically have a whole, like, thieving spree for the week. Gremlins is, I think, a great entry here in this Christmas adjacent films category. You've got Christmas expediting the plot by giving Billy's dad motivation to find a gift for Billy, thus giving him the Mogwai. But you've also got these themes of, like, a juxtaposition between the idyllic small town environment, you know, the beautiful, you know, the snow on all the trees, and it's just this beautiful small town. It's all lit up for Christmas. But then you've got it juxtaposed against the wanton destruction that's caused by the gremlins. And dare I even say that the gremlins could be viewed as a metaphor for the consumerism and hedonism that the holidays represent for a lot of folks. The gluttony that is so rampant and on display at the holidays, buying everything for everybody. And, you know, your kids are little gremlins anyway. They're tearing through everything. There's a mess. They're ripping everything to shreds. They're eating every bit of candy and all the milk duds and shit. The way the gremlins just kind of destroy every environment that they're in, I think could also be read as a metaphor for that level of consumption of all things that occurs at the holidays. Violent Night, I also consider to be, you know, part of this category as well. It does contain the actual Santa Claus. I think I move it down because it's just too action-centric. It's an action film with a gimmick, with a Christmas gimmick. But I think it's more of an action film at heart, despite containing some magic and the real Santa Claus. I think Santa Claus killing people is just too violent to really make it up to that true level. I mean, it's too much of a fetish. It's too much of like a John Wick meets Tim Allen's the Santa Claus. Like, what if John Wick got tapped to be Santa Claus instead of Tim Allen in the Santa Claus? Like, that's kind of what you get with Violent Night. That's sort of how I would pitch that, I guess. Violent Night, if you've never seen it. But I think it's really just too violent, really. You're not going to put it right up there with White Christmas. My mom will watch White Christmas with me. My mom's not going to watch Violent Night. My dad will watch Violent Night with me. He did last year, and he wants to again this year. He loves John Wick, so I think he loves John Wick more than he loves Christmas. I don't think he gives too many fucks about Christmas. So, you know, here we are. We're in that Christmas-adjacent level where you've got a Christmas movie. He doesn't have to feel bad because he doesn't give a fuck about White Christmas. He wants to watch Santa Claus fuck up some dudes, and there you go. He's getting his wish for Christmas too. I think in general, the Christmas-adjacent tier, this second tier, is a great tier for Christmas horror films like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or Christmas Evil as well. I think the Christmas horror doesn't really conform to the themes of like family or redemption like the true Christmas film, that upper tier, does. But the Christmas horror plays on anxieties around the holiday, which are also quite common. And it really kind of subverts, I guess, some of what we normally associate Christmas with. We normally think of Christmas as like family, warmth, cozy safety, right? Cozy safety by a fire. And obviously that is subverted in the Christmas horror film, where they're anything but safe for the people running around on Christmas, enjoying themselves, getting their heads chopped off while they're sledding down a hill or some shit like that. It's wild. But so I think the Christmas horror really kind of takes those anxieties, normal anxieties that we experience, like, do I have enough time? Did I get everything? I've got to wrap, I've got to build gifts for my kids. And then it takes those kind of normal anxieties, puts them on steroids. I'm not really worried about getting killed by an axe-wielding Santa this Christmas, but it becomes kind of a metaphor for those anxieties. The normal anxieties get writ large in these Christmas slashers. And so I think they work pretty well right here, even though they're not exactly Christmas films. They're not exactly on that top tier of Christmas films. They are Christmas films, but they're not exactly in that upper level. But I think definitely still very worthy holiday viewing, especially as a counterbalance to things like It's a Wonderful Life and White Christmas, that it does provide a more well-rounded holiday viewing schedule to include some of those Christmas horror films as well. I mean, now we have the third and last tier, and these are the films that, in my opinion, they're not really Christmas films. You can argue, and people usually do argue about these. My opinion is that these aren't really Christmas films. These are films in which Christmas is some weird fetish. It's like furry porn. right? It's like I'm really here for the porn. I'm here for the sex. But I like it when they wear the furry outfits because that's my kink or whatever I'm into. And that's fine if that's what you're into. It's not, that's weird. But I am judging. I know a lot of people say, like, I'm not here to judge. I'm a judging motherfucker. I'm judging. At any rate, these are films that kind of wear Christmas like it's the furry outfit. They're not really here for Christmas. You don't have Christmas themes here. There's really no narrative necessity for these films to take place at Christmas time. Any of these movies you could just pick up and move to a different time of year. In fact, many of these films weren't even released at the holidays. Christmas is pretty much just a backdrop for the action. A lot of these are just straight action films. Die Hard 1 and 2, for instance, both take place at Christmas in the narrative, but they were released in July. And they're action films. They're action films that happen to take place on Christmas. It's unnecessary. Basically, Shane Black's whole career pretty much rests on this group of Christmas films. Lethal Weapon, I just watched that the other day. There's no reason for this to be set at Christmas. There's no reason. There's not any reason in that script you couldn't just pick up the entire story and just drop it on St. Patrick's Day weekend. Moreover, Lethal Weapon was released in March. The Long Kiss Goodnight, released in early October. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, also released in early October. Iron Man 3, you mean to tell me that Iron Man 3 doesn't work if it was set in July? You couldn't just set Iron Man 3 in July? The Sure Thing. I think The Sure Thing works much better as a spring break road trip movie. I don't think it works very well as a Christmas movie at all. I love the film. It does not work very well, I think, as a Christmas movie. I think it should be a totally new semester when they come back. Make it a spring break film, and then you don't have to worry about the new semester thing starting, new teachers or whatever. Plus, The Sure Thing was released in March. Cobra, Sylvester Stallone's Cobra. We got a nice 4K of this from Arrow, and I just watched that about a week ago. And this fucker just straight up forgets it's set at Christmas time in that third act. And it was released in May. Batman Returns, released in June. Then there's To Live and Die in LA, which is almost inexplicably set over Christmas and New Year's for like no reason whatsoever. They specifically add intertitles to tell you what date that this is occurring on. And it's like December 23rd to like January the 4th or something like that. It's ridiculous that this whole film happens over the Christmas holiday and New Year's holiday, and there's just no mention of it in the narrative whatsoever. There's like almost no Christmas imagery. There's like no anything. It's just inexplicably set at Christmas. But at least they released To Live and Die in LA on November the 1st, which is not very close to Christmas either, but it's as close as any of these fucking movies get. So, you know, you've got sometimes Christmas music in these films, like Lethal Weapon uses some Christmas music. Oftentimes it's diegetic, you know, it'll be playing on a stereo or something like that. Although Lethal Weapon is an example of non-diegetic use of Christmas music. But, you know, you've got stuff like the intro shootout at the grocery store in Cobra. And of course, the grocery store is all decked out for Christmas. Over the loudspeakers, they would be playing Christmas music. So you might have some worked in there diegetically. It's part of the surrounding that sort of reminds you that it's taking place at Christmas time for no real good reason. I think the true test of whether or not it's a Christmas movie is, you know, how well does this movie work if you just move it from December to June or July? Was it released around the holidays? At least in the last 30 or so years, if it's a real Christmas movie like Elf or Bad Santa, some of the more recent on this list, Christmas films, The Santa Claus, they're releasing it around the holidays, you know, around Thanksgiving or shortly after Thanksgiving to give it a little bit of life through the month of December. And I think that's another standard. If they release the movie in March, how much of a Christmas movie can it be? How much of a Christmas movie is The Sure Thing if I'm going to see it on March the 13th, 1985? That's stupid. It's silly. Anyway, I hope that that this general framework, this theoretical framework for approaching would-be Christmas films is useful and beneficial to you. Consider this my gift to you in the spirit of holiday gift giving. Consider this my gift to you. You people, you fine people, these fine people. I want to thank these fine people for being patrons. You guys are awesome. You made my 2025 excellent. And for the rest of you, you know what to do. It's the season of giving, and you know, sometimes it's not just about giving, it's also about receiving, which I told my wife, and she still refused to go down on me. Anyway, it is what it is. I mean, it's not Christmas yet, right? So I can't cash in my gift just yet. I'm gonna drink the rest of this for these people, and I'm gonna go apologize to my wife. I think she just heard me say that. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully I'll get one more in before Christmas, but no promises, because this is difficult. I know I make it look easy. This is difficult. I love you people. Merry Christmas to you fuckers. I'll catch you guys on the flippy dippy. Peace out, y'all.